This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.
This is Tamara Judge from Two Teas in a Pod with Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge. Tamara here. As you know, my dog Rugby is like one of my kids, and I don't play around when it comes to taking care of him. Chewy is where I get everything he needs. He loves food, so always stocking up on treats and toys from Chewy, which my husband Eddie likes to buy for him. It always shows up fast, which is exactly how I like things. Chewy also handles the serious stuff, prescriptions, pet insurance, and the telehealth vet visits. And now they're opening up vet clinics across the country. And their 24/7 customer service, they just understand pet people. Plus, with Chewy's 1-year satisfaction guarantee, trying new things is never stressful. Chewy just makes caring for Rugby easier, and that matters to me. For life with pets, the answer is Chewy. Save $20 on your first order with free shipping at chewpanions.chewy.com/teapod.
Joy is essential, and it's also elusive. But now, there's a new and exciting way to start your journey toward a more joyful existence. Joy 101. It's a new podcast hosted by me, Hoda Kotb. If you're craving inspiration, support, and useful tools to maximize your joy, tune into these candid, uplifting, and moving on-air chats. Listen to Joy 101 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Stuff You Should Know, a production of iHeartRadio.
Hey, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Josh Clark. There's Charles W. Chuck Bryan over there. Jerry's here. So bend over and let's get started, everyone.
Trigger warning.
Body horror.
Yeah, this is about enemas. Trigger warning. Obviously, if you see the title, you're going to know what's going on.
Sure.
But, you know, there's going to be some gross stuff. And there's also a small section that does, you may not want your kids to hear.
Yeah.
I would just say if this is probably not family road trip material.
Yeah, just skip to the next one.
Yeah, unless that next one, no, it's probably safe lately.
Oh, yeah. And it's really just that one part, to tell you the truth. And even then, it's not like we're being like, lascivious or bawdy.
No, it's nothing to be ashamed of, but like you just tread carefully with kids around.
Everybody's like, oh, what are they talking about? I've never been more intrigued by a Stuff You Should Know episode intro.
Oh, you'll know when we get there.
So
keep your pants on.
That was terrible, but great also at the same time.
That's right.
So we're talking enemas, and there were probably about 7-8 times researching this where I was like, I'm gonna faint.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm really surprised that I've actually gotten high colonics before. Like, I've done this stuff.
I think I remember that.
And
you were into this, right?
Yes. Actually, yeah, okay. That's a good way to put it. I was into it for a while.
Yeah.
And because there were times where I would get one and be like, I've never felt more positive and energetic than I've ever felt in my life. And then other times I would get them and I would feel like gray and couldn't look anybody in the eye afterward. Mm-hmm. Like, it's really strange how it can affect you. But, when it does make you feel good, you can understand why people do it. The thing is, as we'll see, the reason that I was doing high colonics and why most people do high colonics, especially outside of a formal medical setting, is just basically bunk.
That's true. I remember now. You talked about this in our live Dr. Kellogg episode.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you said you felt gray, that's how you described it on stage.
There's no other way to put it.
It always got a laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. That was fun.
But also got a laugh. It's one of those true jokes.
No, for sure. So I'll talk a little. I'll pepper this episode with my memories of that. How about that?
Great.
But instead...
I've never done it.
You've never had an enema even?
No, nothing like that.
Okay, all right.
Exit only so far.
I gotcha. And so
I'm not ruling anything out.
But that's the thing. So like Ed helped us with this one, and he specifically spells out, there's no reason for you to do this.
That's true. And just let me correct myself real quick. I did have my colonoscopy, so I'm officially not exit only.
Oh, congratulations, man. That's a good thing to do.
No one told me 2 things going into this. One of which is that the people coming in there to do it walk in like wearing rubber smocks, basically. And when you see it, you're like, oh, sure. I would too. And the other thing no one ever told me, and I think people don't tell people this maybe just because it's a fun surprise, is that all you do afterward for 30 minutes is fart.
I don't remember that.
I was sitting there, but pre-op, they brought a guy out next to me behind the curtain, and he was just blowing gas every 15 seconds, big ones, and I was dying. And the guy came, it was so funny to me. I mean, I'm still 5 years old. The guy came in to wheel me in, the anesthesiologist, and I was like, is that him? And he went, that's everybody.
Wow.
And I went, so all day long, and he went, a cacophony of farts.
Wow.
And I was like, what a job. And he just kind of laughed and he said, it'll be you too. And I came out and I was in that beautiful propofol haze. And I told the lady, I said, I got to go to the bathroom right now. And she went, you just have to pass, honey. She went, just go ahead and start doing it. And sure enough, I just started blowing heat.
For how long? Because I really genuinely
about 30
don't remember
minutes.
doing that. I must have been like just basically out while I was doing it. Now I'm embarrassed.
Maybe. Well, Emily didn't remember either, but I was in there with her, and she, I think, was pretty farty. So,
gotcha.
Anyway, all that to say, I did have the camera, going inside of my body.
So you have been an innie now, not just an outie.
I guess so. I was looking for the right word. An innie, sure.
Sure. So let's get to the nitty gritty here, okay?
Yeah. What's an enema?
It's when you have fluid injected through your anus into the rectum. Sometimes, depending on the amount of fluid introduced and how long you can hold it, it can make its way up to the large intestine, which is 5 feet or 1.5 meters long. So it can be a lot of fluid, almost 2 liters from what I saw. And then you try to hold it, and then after a while you pass it. And you're basically pooping a bunch of water out. And hopefully, if you're doing this for basically a non-medical reason, you're clearing out any remaining poop material in there.
Yeah, which is when you go in for a colonic, they have you, instead of doing a colonic or a enema, they give you the stuff to drink where you do nothing but poop for, 12 to 18 hours or whatever.
For a colonoscopy.
Yeah, because they don't want anything in there either.
No, and because they can like not make it past whatever chunks are in there, or they can kind of block the data that they're getting from it, block their view. Who knows? But yeah, they
and the rubber smocks.
Right.
Like when I had to go one more time, and I actually stopped the guy right as we were going in. I said, I think I have to go one more time. Is that a problem? And he went, no, please do. So I was like, oh, right, of course. It's like you want all of it out.
Yeah. So let's talk about where you're actually holding this water when you get an enema.
Yeah, to the 5 people still listening.
You think?
I don't know. I think there are some people that listen to the poop episode. If they're into that, they're into this.
Sure. For sure. So in your guts, you've got your digestive tract, which basically is your guts. You got your mouth, your pharynx, your esophagus. That's where the food goes, into the stomach. And from the stomach, it goes into the small intestine. And the small intestine is long. It's really long. It's like 22 feet long, all bunched up. And it's longer than the large intestine, but it's much narrower. And that is where we suck all the nutrients out of food, right? And then once we suck all the nutrients out of food, it goes ploop into the large intestine.
That's right. All right, so from this point, you're at the end of the small intestine, right? Am I in the right part of the body?
For sure.
I feel like you shrunk me down, and I'm listening to you on like ear comms.
Please get me out of here.
You got the liquid food material at this point, and it's going to pass through the ileocecal valve into the cecum. And we talked about all this in the poop and the digestive episodes, but it's a nice refresher.
And I think appendix too.
Yeah. Probably. It's always fun to talk about it because it's such a weird system that like the answer is 22 feet of intestines.
Yeah, but it's just such a beautiful idea, or such a great system,
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So the cecum is on the right side of the body in the lower abdomen. And then it's going to move into the colon, which is that big, larger segmented tube that goes up the right side and takes a little turn, actually not a little turn, a very sharp turn across the body in the upper abdomen, and is kind of curved and tucked underneath the stomach.
Yeah, and then it goes down the other side and makes kind of a J at the bottom, and that's where it connects with the rectum. And the colon, by the way, is just another word for the large intestine. There's different types of colon depending on what section you're talking about. But the point is, as it's going through this wild ride in your large intestine, although the nutrients have been removed, now the water is being removed, a lot of the liquid, so that you don't get dehydrated every time you poop. And that makes your poop not dry, but less moist than it would have been when it entered the large intestine. The point is this: when it gets to your rectum and goes out of your anus, what you're doing is pooping. And the whole point behind enemas, as it stands, and they've been around for a really long time, is the idea that maybe there's something stuck in there. And if there's something stuck in there and it's gross, we should probably try to get rid of it, and we'll probably be healthier as a result.
Yeah, and I think even beyond stuck, I think some people like the idea of just cleaning the pipes out really, really well.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure, I know what you're saying.
Like if they could get a one of those like test tube brushes.
Yeah, a pipe,
but you can't.
Pipe brush, yeah.
Yeah, like a pipe cleaner, but you can't. And so the enema has come along, and I think a lot of people still do it for that reason. They just like, maybe that's why you were doing it. Just like, let me clean myself out.
Yeah, I was doing it for the idea of like toxins being removed, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Which is, it dates back to John Harvey Kellogg, but even further, as we'll see. But yeah, I think some people do just want to be cleaner. And I saw that there's a shower extension or attachment that is chrome, and you can basically just give yourself an enema every day in the shower. Whether you should do that or not is highly debatable. And if you ask a doctor, they'll say, no, don't even do it once. But some people do anyway.
Interesting. All right. So if you want to go back through history, it's one of the earliest sort of medical procedures that you could get. It is in ancient medical texts. We always talk about Pliny and Herodotus. They both wrote about enemas. The Egyptians were using enemas. There was apparently a bird called the ibis that they thought gave itself enemas with its beak, when in fact it was just expressing oil glands near the anus with its beak. But they looked at this bird and said, I guess, well, hey, if it's doing it, then maybe we should too.
Right.
But a lot of times with the Egyptians, it was sort of a post, I almost said postpartum, after you die.
Posthumous.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Posthumous.
Posthumous.
I was going to cut all that out, but I should just own it, right?
It's up to you.
No, I'm going to own it.
Okay.
I could not think of the word posthumous. It was something they did after you died.
Yeah, they would put a bunch of cedar oil up your poop chute and let you let your innards just basically dissolve that way. But they were also using it while they were alive, not using cedar oil, obviously, because that would have been horrible, but using other stuff like typically water, sometimes oils, to basically clean themselves out. Again, that's long been and still is the basic idea of an enema for thousands of years.
That's right. So as far as equipment goes, over the years, it's definitely things have come and gone and what was available to them. Syringes have been around a lot longer than I thought, actually, before I researched this stuff. But depending on where you were and how much money you had, you might not have access to something like a medical syringe. But one thing they would use is, in certain parts of the world, were bamboo tubes. And you would, stick this up someone's butt. And you would be very careful not to inhale with your mouth on the tube. And you would blow in. And you would force liquid in through there. And this was something that they used. I think bellows came along because people actually would occasionally inhale, and that would lead to very poor results, right?
Yeah, because a lot of times you were getting enemas for things like cholera, and if you accidentally coughed and inhaled while you were supposed to be blowing, you could inhale cholera-infested stool, and you were in big, big trouble.
Or even if it wasn't cholera infested, it's just a very poor day.
It really is. And they were it's a really basic idea, but over, the centuries, people added things to it. Like you said, the syringe, when it started to become more widespread. There was a Dutch physician named Regnier de Graaf who in the 1600s realized that a lot of people could probably benefit from, an enema, but they were too modest or embarrassed or something like that. So he really started to try to figure out how to make enemas self-administered, also to free the poor person who had to blow the water through the bamboo tube as well. It was way better if you could just do it yourself without that kind of thing.
Sure. Things like water bottles are used these days in certain applications. Back then, they would use like animal bladders and things like that because they, again, like you said, they tried to make it early on. I think even way back then, they said, this is probably something we should try and get people to do themselves no matter what tools they're using.
Right.
Like, we got to think of something to get everyone else out of the room.
So just like everything else, there was an age of the enema. And this actually happened during the court of Louis XIV, who I believe reigned during the 18th century, correct?
Yeah. I mean, I think it was, like early 1630s to early 1700s.
Okay, all right, crap. So I was half right. So during this time, like it was just as fashionable as it could be to get enemas, self-administered or otherwise. And being the king, Louis XIV was like, I don't have to administer these myself. I'll have somebody administer them to me. And also being the king, I'll take visitors during these sessions as well.
Yes, and he loved these things. Reports say that he had over 2,000 enemas during his reign. And why this hasn't been like at least a movie scene at some point, I have no idea, where he's just kind of holding court or taking a meeting while he's getting an enema. But, high society Parisians, they would show off they were called Clister syringes. And they had several different ones. Some were like mother of pearl and very fancy. And they would say, oh, look at mine. I have several different, enema syringes. And it was just a thing people did a lot.
Yes, until around the 18th, 19th century, when they started figuring out that they could make laxatives in pill form, and it was way easier. And they started prescribing those instead. And it fell out of favor until John Harvey Kellogg came along, and for much, much greater detail on his experience with enemas, you could go listen to our live Kellogg Brothers episode. But he brought it back with a bang, and since then, his idea is that you're cleaning out toxins that otherwise will cause disease in you is still just the premise of enemas outside of the medical setting.
That's right. Another couple of things that I know one of them we mentioned, and I couldn't remember, but I guess it was the drowning episode, was they used to, in England, perform tobacco smoke enemas to revive people after drowning,
right?
Or if you lose consciousness. And I knew that sounded familiar, and then when it hit on the drowning part, that had to have been the episode.
Yeah.
But they would blow tobacco smoke up your butt.
Yep, with a rubber hose.
And that will wake you right up, I guess.
Yeah, well, actually, I think they found that it didn't actually work very much.
Oh, okay.
So you want to take a break and come back and talk more about enemas?
Hey, let's.
This is Tamara Judge from Two Teas in a Pod with Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge. Can we take a moment to talk about Chewy? I get everything for rugby from Chewy. His food, the treats, I'm constantly reordering, the toys he destroys in minutes, even his supplements. And it always shows up fast. Chewy also handles the serious stuff, prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. Their 24/7 customer service actually understands dog moms like me and cat moms, bird moms, reptile moms, all of us. And with Chewy's 1-year satisfaction guarantee, trying something new is never stressful. For life with pets, the answer is Chewy. Save $20 on your first order with free shipping at chewpanions.chewy.com/teapod.
Joy is essential, and it's also elusive. You can't order it, you can't borrow it, or simply hope it into life. But now There's a new and exciting way to start your journey toward a more joyful existence. Joy 101. It's a new podcast hosted by me, Hoda Kotb. Together, guys, we'll have meaningful conversations with the world's most fascinating people. Entertainment legends, sports icons, wellness experts, and everyday people will share how they find, allow, and experience joy. And I'll offer some of my own tips and takes on seeking a more balanced and harmonious life. If you're craving inspiration, support, and useful tools to maximize your joy, tune into these candid, uplifting, and moving on-air chats. Joy after a breakup, joy as an empty nester, joy after a loss, joy as a caretaker. This new podcast will speak to you. Listen to Joy 101 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Mainstream media is full of cruel depictions of the unhoused. Stories that shame and blame and paint the unhoused as a monolith. We the Unhoused is the podcast that's changing that. I'm Theo Henderson, creator and host, and for years I've created a space where the unhoused and their advocates can tell their own stories. In the last few months alone, I've interviewed unhoused parents, immigrants, mutual aid organizers, veterans, the LGBTQIA+ community, and the policymakers who make the laws that impact the unhoused existence. We the Unhoused is a 2-time Webby and Signal Award-winning show with many exciting guests on the horizon. Tune in this week for my interview with Dr. Jill Wicherick, a street doctor turned influencer whose work with the unhoused community has made a huge impact online and in her community. Listen to We the Unhoused on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Keith Giamanco seemed like a mild-mannered suburban dad, but secretly, he became someone else, a master of disguise who went on a crime spree. At the time, did it seem like a crazy idea?
It seemed very crazy, but I felt so desperate that I felt it was the quickest, easiest way out.
Did you allow yourself to think about how it could go wrong and what that might look like?
No. I didn't want to manifest that. I was trying to manifest success.
Every family has its secrets. But what happens when you discover that your dad has been living a double life?
That is not the look of an innocent man. This is going to change my life and my family dynamic forever, because everything that had existed prior in my reality is now untrue.
Listen to Deep Cover The Family Man on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stuxnet.
Who?
Stuxnet.
Say it one more time.
Stuxnet.
I don't know what that
You
is.
know it's Stuxnet.
Is that in this? Stuxnet.
Stuxnet. It's a great name.
You gotta quit saying Stuxnet.
That's the name of it.
I know.
It's a great name.
All right.
Stuxnet with an X. All right, so let's talk like the actual medical enema, right, and how it actually works.
Okay. The first thing you want to figure out is how much liquid to put in.
Right.
And it varies. There can be situations where they're basically kind of flushing you in and out, where there are gallons of liquid that are used.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might get a CT scan to actually determine a real volume to use, like how much space do you have to hold this liquid.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, though, it's about a liter or so, roughly.
Yeah. I saw that the volume of the average colon, the large intestine, is about 1.5 liters to maybe 3, I think.
All right. So you're on the side of down.
But if you think about it, if you're using a liter, or say 2 liters, you're filling up your entire large intestine with water.
Yeah.
Lucky for you, there's that ileocecal valve that prevents backflow from going from the large intestine back into the small intestine. But that's actually like a big risk with self-administered or non-medical enemas or colonics. Is there's a concern that could actually breach that, and you would be in big trouble because you'd be infecting yourself with stuff that you shouldn't be infecting yourself with.
Yeah, that's one good reason not to do it yourself.
Exactly. So you're going to probably be on your side. There's a doctor or nurse who's going to be, administering it. And it's exactly what you think. They put a tube up your butt. They put the water or whatever it is into your anus, which goes up to your rectum, and then possibly into your large intestine. And while you're sitting there, you are overcome by the urge to poop. And it's not just that you're full or distended. It's that the liquid actually can trigger the mucosa lining the rectum to poop. It's basically like there's two ways it's making you want to poop. And brother, do you want to poop?
Right. So one is you're full, and the other is that mucosa just starts spasming because it's triggered.
Right.
And that's why apparently why they use soapy water. Or not always, but there is such a thing as a soapy water enema. And that soap is a lubricant, which helps, obviously, for obvious reasons, but it also can be extra irritating to the colon and make you want to poop even more.
But I'm sure there's people out there who presume that soap water enemas are used to clean you out extra good.
Yeah, which is not the case, right?
No, it's not. It's just for making your colon spasm.
Right.
So while you're holding this, like sometimes you have to hold it because there might be a bunch of like impacted poop in there or something like that they want to kind of soften up over time. So they may make you hold it for a while, and you're going to cramp because you're not used to being this full. And also don't forget that your colon is spasming, wanting to poop, and you just have to hold it for as long as you can. And then finally you get to poop it out, and you go home and cry for a couple of days.
So I guess we should talk about some of the valid reasons before we get to like the reasons why you probably shouldn't just do one at home yourself to clean yourself out. There are plenty of valid medical reasons why you want to go to a doctor, or if you're in a hospital or something, to get an enema. One is if you have, and we're not talking about just your garden variety constipation that happens to people. We're talking about constipation that has not responded to any other treatments.
Right.
Or possible, if it gets so bad, something called fecal impactation can happen, which is just really long-term. I mean, it's what you think. It's really long-term constipation where your feces are just so hard and compact and dehydrated that it's probably not even possible to get them out other than with an enema.
Right. And that's where you just sit there and hold it in for a while and just kind of let it loosen up, probably with like some warm water that's just breaking it up, maybe saline water too. You also,
or Pop Rocks.
Right. You also might want to do it, like you said, for if you're going to go get a colonoscopy. They might have given you an enema back in the day. Although I wonder how long they've been doing colonoscopies. At some point, enemas and colonoscopies crossed paths. But now, since they figured out they can give you like that magic drink that just makes you poop, they don't really need to do enemas any longer. But I think that was a point at some time.
They met in a bar one night.
Yeah.
Said, we seem to have a lot in common.
Yeah. I couldn't think of a follow-up joke. I really wanted to. That was great, Chuck. There it is.
All right. Thank you.
Very nice.
Here's another reason. Before having a baby, a lot of times when someone has a baby, they can poop. And for a long time, they said, well, that's not a good idea because there could be bacteria in the feces. This is cause infections. So you get an enema before you have a baby. But since the early 1980s, that has kind of gone the way of the dodo, because there was a paper, meta-study in 1981 that found that it did not reduce infection, and it basically just added another stressful procedure to pre-birth that
Right.
they didn't want people to go through.
Yeah. Why make it even more stressful,
Exactly.
Also, if there's something wrong with your colon, they might give you an enema of barium sulfate, which shows up as opaque on x-ray. So if you have a colon full of barium sulfate, when they x-ray you, they're going to be able to see every nook and cranny of your colon. It really helps quite a bit. And you just get to poop out some barium. That's the bonus of that one.
This one is something I never considered, but it makes a lot of sense. If you have to have a certain kind of medication, like for your colon, getting it there that way may be a really good idea, because if you think about it, if you take it, like maybe if it's ulcerative colitis or something, and you take something orally, like a steroid, you're going to maybe metabolize a lot of that on the way down. And your body is also going to have probably more of a risk of side effects because it is being metabolized in your whole body.
Right.
Whereas if you just go right to the spot and get that steroid in there, it's sort of a one-stop shop.
Yeah, and also if the steroid's just meant for the treatment of ulcerative colitis, say, you don't want to move steroids across your entire body, which will happen if you get it through IV or orally. This is it's just super laser focused medication, which is great.
That's right.
And also, it's the same thing with suppositories too. Sometimes they'll use a suppository if you can't keep something down, or if they're trying to target that area because there's so many blood vessels in your anus and rectum. I think particularly in your anus that they'll just take that medicine and shoot it right through that area.
And this is where Ed, the Grabster, points out, he helped us put this one together, is he said, you'll notice that none of the medical reasons were, just to clean yourself out.
No.
That is something that has, come on, I was about to say more recently, but Kellogg was doing it obviously a long time ago, and so were the Egyptians, so never mind.
There was one other reason for it that I thought was pretty cool. If you end up needing our desert survival episode one day and you're overheated.
Oh, right.
And you show up at the hospital, they might give you a cool water enema, and that will help reduce your core body temperature real quick.
Inside out method.
It's pretty cool. I'll bet that is awful, but I'll bet afterward you're like, that was amazing. I can't believe that worked, but it did.
Yeah, maybe so.
All right, Chuck, how about our second break? We're making it, man. I haven't felt faint once yet.
I haven't either.
Okay, good. So we're going to take a break and come back and finish up Enemas.
This is Tamara Judge from Two Teas in a Pod with Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge. Can we take a moment to talk about Chewy? I get everything for rugby from Chewy. His food, the treats, I'm constantly reordering, the toys he destroys in minutes, even his supplements. And it always shows up fast. Chewy also handles the serious stuff, prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. Their 24/7 customer service actually understands dog moms like me and cat moms, bird moms, reptile moms, all of us. And with Chewy's 1-year satisfaction guarantee, trying something new is never stressful. For life with pets, the answer is Chewy. Save $20 on your first order with free shipping at chewpanions.chewy.com/teapod.
Joy is essential, and it's also elusive. You can't order it, you can't borrow it, or simply hope it into life. But now, there's a new and exciting way to start your journey toward a more joyful existence. Joy 101. It's a new podcast hosted by me, Hoda Kotb. Together, guys, we'll have meaningful conversations with the world's most fascinating people. Entertainment legends, sports icons, wellness experts, and everyday people will share how they find, allow, and experience joy. And I'll offer some of my own tips and takes on seeking a more balanced and harmonious life. If you're craving inspiration, support, and useful tools to maximize your joy, tune into these candid, uplifting, and moving on-air chats. Joy after a breakup, joy as an empty nester, joy after a loss, joy as a caretaker. This new podcast will speak to you. Listen to Joy 101 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Keith Giamanco seemed like a mild-mannered suburban dad, but secretly, he became someone else, a master of disguise who went on a crime spree. At the time, did it seem like a crazy idea?
It seemed very crazy, but I felt so desperate that I felt it was the quickest, easiest way out.
Did you allow yourself to think about how it could go wrong and what that might look like?
No, I didn't want to manifest that. I was trying to manifest success.
Every family has its secrets. But what happens when you discover that your dad has been living a double life?
That is not the look of an innocent man. This is going to change my life and my family dynamic forever because everything that had existed prior in my reality is now untrue.
Listen to Deep Cover The Family Man on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Mainstream media is full of cruel depictions of the unhoused, stories that shame and blame and paint the unhoused as a monolith. We the Unhoused is the podcast that's changing that. I'm Theo Henderson, creator and host, and for years I've created a space where the unhoused and their advocates can tell their own stories. In the last few months alone, I've interviewed unhoused parents, immigrants, mutual aid organizers, veterans, the LGBTQIA+ community, and the policymakers who make the laws that impact the unhoused existence. We the Unhoused is a 2-time Webby and Signal Award-winning show with many exciting guests on the horizon. Tune in this week for my interview with Dr. Jill Wicherick, a street doctor turned influencer whose work with the unhoused community has made a huge impact online and in her community. Listen to We the Unhoused on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Stuxnet.
Who?
Stuxnet.
Say it one more time.
Stuxnet.
I don't know what that
You
is.
know it's Stuxnet.
Is that in this? Stuxnet.
Stuxnet. It's a great name.
You gotta quit saying Stuxnet.
That's the name of it.
I know.
It's a great name.
All right.
Stuxnet with an X.
All right. So it's been a pretty wild ride so far. We described the process, medically speaking. Some of the liquids that you can use, medically speaking, regular old tap water, soapy water, which we talked about. Sometimes it will be saline water, saltwater enemas, different concentrations of salt, depending on what you want to do, whether or not you want to draw water into the intestines or draw water out. You're going to use different concentration levels of salt.
Makes sense.
What else? We mentioned barium sulfite, but also oil, right?
Yeah, I think if you've got your poop is just not coming out, they might give you some sort of oil to really kind of break it up a little more.
I wonder what kind of oil.
I would guess mineral oil, probably.
10W30.
Right. That would be my guess.
Okay, sure. That makes sense.
I think so too. So you talked about how there's reasons that some people would want to be clean. And there are times where you might want to be clean. There are sexual activities that you might want to be cleaner for. And one of them is anal sex, right?
That's right. You just passed that right along to me pretty quickly, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently in the porn industry, it is very common practice if you have an anal sex scene on camera to get really cleaned out beforehand.
Yeah.
Never really thought about that, but apparently that's a thing.
I didn't either. I also saw that it's fairly common, at least according to Vice magazine, among bottoms in the gay community, that they'll basically give themselves enemas before sex. And in this article, the whole premise of it was like, essentially that this doctor was saying, like, you don't need to do that. First of all, like, most of like any remnant poop that's in there, like, here's the other thing. This is why you shouldn't do this in the first place, no matter what the reason outside of a medical setting. You don't need to, because most people whose like works are functioning properly are expelling almost all of the poop that ever goes through their body. There's so little left over that this is really unnecessary. And then also it's with anal sex in particular, you're rarely reaching the rectum. It's almost all anus, and there's not really any leftover poop in the anus. It would be in the rectum.
Yeah, plus if you get that bidet,
right,
it's crossing over with all kinds of episodes. You're clean up there anyway.
Exactly. Yes, for sure.
And along these same lines, the sexual pleasure is another reason somebody might want to do this. Like, and we're not just talking about anal sex. We're talking about BDSM practices. It is the thing in that community where some people might be into like a humiliation fetish where you are forced to hold in an enema as part of control, or maybe a medical fetish. And this happens in the BDSM community, and that's another reason you might get an enema.
Yeah, it's like
a DIY enema.
It's not preparing for a sex act. It is in itself the sex act, right?
That's right, part of the sex act.
So I was reading about that too, and I saw it was like humiliation, like you had to ask permission to go finally, that was part of it. But I also saw it can also be treated as like a loving gift or something like that. It just all depends on how it's approached, basically.
Gotcha. And that, parents, was the aforementioned section.
Yeah.
And now it's over.
Did we talk about anything kids can't know about?
Well, depends on how open-minded you are and how old your kids are, I think.
Sure. I was teasing.
I know. So I talked a little bit about it being a fad, but then I walked it back. But it is a fad, and it has been for a while now. The notion, like we've kind of harped on, that it's not super expensive. You can usually get like an enema kit for not a whole lot of money. Like it doesn't take a lot of high-priced equipment, and it's something that you can do in the privacy of your own home. And I think along with like fasting and juice cleanses, it's sort of in that same category as this stuff where you at least you're intending to clean toxins out of your body. And
plus also it has a real goop vibe too, you know?
And Gwyneth Paltrow's goop, not just
well said, yes.
Yeah.
So again, yes, if you're doing this and you're fine medically, if you don't have digestive issues, then there's no reason for you to do this. It's superfluous, and it can also be potentially dangerous. That's the point. I don't think like the doctors who are saying like, don't do this if you don't need any help with your digestive tract are just trying to like, poo-poo anyone's fun. But what they're saying is like there's actual risks with this kind of stuff that you could injure yourself, and in some really horrific ways. I think this is where the fainting for me really kind of stepped up.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll just start with perforations.
Sure.
If you are inserting something, into your anus, up into your rectum, there is a chance that you could perforate something. You could have one of those nozzles go through the wall of the rectum. You could make even the tiniest hole in the wall of your colon because of the pressure of that fluid. None of this is a good thing at all. It could lead to sepsis. It is all of a sudden you have things that aren't sterile where they shouldn't be, and it's just not a good idea.
Right. You can infect your parietal peritoneum, which holds your abdomen or your abdominal organs in place and doesn't want any poop water in there at all. It'd be a bad jam. You can also even just do more minor damage too, where you just kind of scrape it or dent it or something like that, and it's not going to feel very good. And the reason why you're at risk of perforating or denting or scraping your rectum is because it's not like a straight shot from your anus up to your rectum up to your large intestine. Your anus goes one way, and then all of a sudden it starts to double back, and that's your rectum. So you really have to have some finesse here. And if you go too far, you can really be in some big trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about drawing water out. That could obviously lead to some pretty severe dehydration if you lose a significant amount of water. Sodium phosphate, if you use an enema that contains sodium phosphate, that can really lead to severe dehydration. And we're talking like, where your kidneys and your heart could be damaged.
Yeah, because I mean, we're talking electrolytes here. So the electrical conductivity of your heart depends on that kind of stuff. So yes, if you have a heart condition, you should probably not be doing enemas, especially saline enemas for sure. But also, even if it's not saline, if you introduce too much water into your body, you can suffer from water toxicity, which is basically like the opposite of that kind of imbalance of too much salt. You have too little salt, and that can cause problems too.
Yeah, and aside from heart conditions and high blood pressure, which they don't recommend you self-administer enemas in those cases, if you have any kind of complications with your colon, any kind of underlying condition there, you don't want to be giving yourself an enema just to clean yourself out.
Okay, got it. You got anything else?
I got nothing else. I feel like this is a pretty short one. We sped through this one somehow.
Well, I was going to say, we have a few minutes. I could share my experience with it.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really touch on any of it. So if you go and get a colonic or colon hydrotherapy is what it's often called, at like a med spa, they often have them. They're not going to like administer an enema to you. They actually have a machine that allows you to self-administer a continuous enema that they basically leave on for about 30 minutes. And it's a really kind of weird, ingenious contraption, but essentially it's like the kind of table that you would give birth on, so your legs are kind of spread apart.
Okay.
But then in the middle of the table is a hole with a tube coming up from it. And that tube is what you have to like lower yourself onto.
That's where you put the umbrella, the sun umbrella.
That's right. And then around the tube is where everything comes back out, right? So in front of you is like a little shower nozzle, and it's invariably the cheap Home Depot $10 like fake cut crystal plastic shower nozzle. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, sure.
So you turn it on, and you're in control. So you control how much is going in at any point in time, because you can feel it immediately start to fill up in your colon, in your guts. And you'll probably try to hold it as long as you can, and you might think that that's going to be a minute or 10 minutes if you're really optimistic, but it ends up being like 8 to 10 seconds is the most you could possibly hold it. For me, at least it was. And then when it comes back out, it goes through that tube, or through that hole around the tube, through a plastic tube that goes to that takes it out as waste, it drains it away. And like I said, this contraption is really ingenious. They set a mirror up so you can see it coming through the tube, so you can see what's coming out of you. And it's really something. They leave you in there for about half an hour. And like I said, you can either walk away feeling like, wow, I really feel like $1 million, which I still to this day don't understand. But it was not placebo effect, because I'd had it before and that hadn't happened. This wasn't like the first time. Like it was, I don't understand what the mechanism could have been. And then other times you can feel like really just violated is the only way to put it. Like you violated yourself somehow.
So it's either Walking on Sunshine or a Smith song.
Pretty much.
Wow. So is there a human in there with you? That's what I didn't gather.
The human explains it to you and then leaves. And then
runs and you see a little dust cloud?
Basically, yeah. The only time that the human will come back in while you're doing this is when you haven't inserted the tube far enough into your anus, because water starts spraying out. And you'll basically be like, I think something's wrong. And they'll come in and be like, you don't have this far enough up. And you're like, no, I really do. And they're like, you don't. You have to put it further up.
Wow.
And you have to put it further up. And then once you get it up there correctly, the water stops spraying out and you can get down to business.
One thing I didn't look up was the coffee enema. Do you know what the deal is with that? Or is that just a variation of the liquid?
Yeah, as far as I know, I don't understand what it's used for, but I know that like because there's so many blood vessels there, you would be pretty hyped up on caffeine if you use like fully caffeinated coffee.
Oh, well, that's probably the purpose, right?
Well, yes. And then we should also say tangential to that, people have used alcohol in enemas before, and that is potentially deadly.
Yeah.
Actually, probably deadly, depending on what kind of alcohol you put in there and how often you do it.
Wow.
Because you're just absorbing alcohol way faster than you would if you would drink it. So your blood alcohol volume can get really high really fast, and you can give yourself alcohol poisoning. So under no circumstances do that.
Oh, my Lord.
Yeah.
What is wrong with people?
I don't know.
I have nothing else. I'm in a fugue state.
Okay. All right. I don't have anything else either. Well, that's it for enemas, everybody. Chuck's in a fugue state, which means, of course, it's time for listener mail.
We got a couple of replies, and this is in lieu of your assertion that there would be no cocaine in small town Michigan in 1975.
One person really schooled me.
Yeah, I don't think this was it.
Okay.
This is from a West Virginian.
No, this is the guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, not in a hostile manner. I'm saying like he took me to school.
I gotcha. I thought you meant in a, get in there and take your enema like a big boy way.
Right. I have to ask permission to let go.
Greetings from a longtime listener in West Virginia. I'm writing in regards to death from astral projection, where the autopsy report determined that Robert's death was due to a cocaine overdose. Josh expressed skepticism about cocaine being in Ann Arbor in 75 because of the high roller image. I can't speak to that directly, if you know what I mean, but I can tell you that cocaine was absolutely in Morganton. Is it Morganton or Morgantown?
Morgantown.
It just sounds like it'd be one of those places that says, no, it's Morganton.
Well, I said it was Morgantown, so that means, of course, it's Morganton.
And we sure have never been the epicenter of financial markets or a hangout of the rich and famous. But I was a college sophomore then and was in more than one room where it happened. A lot of the illegal drugs that make it to Morganton, Morganton town, come from Detroit, and to this day, drug arrests here often involve people from there. If cocaine made it to the M-Town, home of West Virginia University in 1975, I think it's pretty much a certainty that it also made it to Ann Arbor.
Okay.
I love the podcast. Of course, this is anecdotal still. I love the podcast. I'm happy to get a chance to write in and shed a little more light on an interesting mystery. Should you read this on the podcast, please don't use my name. If my 93-year-old mom got wind of this, she'd still ground me. So that is from Jeffrey Charles.
That's
no, I'm
awesome.
kidding. That's anonymous.
That's great. Thanks, Anonymous. That was a fantastic email. I really feel like, yes, it is anecdotal, but they make just about as good a point as you possibly could. So I rescind it. I still don't understand why this yogi would have suddenly gotten into cocaine.
I agree with that.
When everybody in his life says no, including friends, not just his mom. His
I
friends
agree with that
too,
part.
but I mean, this guy makes a pretty good point. It's possible.
It's possible.
If you want to get in touch with us and let us know what's possible, we're always looking for that kind of thing. You can send it in an email to stuffpodcast@iheartradio.com.
Stuff You Should Know is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.
This is Tamara Judge from Two Teas in a Pod with Teddy Mellencamp and Tamara Judge. Can we take a moment to talk about Chewy? I get everything for rugby from Chewy. His food, the treats, I'm constantly reordering, the toys he destroys in minutes, even his supplements. And it always shows up fast. Chewy also handles the serious stuff, prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. Their 24/7 customer service actually understands dog moms like me and cat moms, bird moms, reptile moms, all of us. And with Chewy's 1-year satisfaction guarantee, trying something new is never stressful. For life with pets, the answer is Chewy. Save $20 on your first order with free shipping at chewpanions.chewy.com/teapod.
Joy is essential and it's also elusive. But now there's a new and exciting way to start your journey toward a more joyful existence. Joy 101. It's a new podcast hosted by me, Hoda Kotb. If you're craving inspiration, support, and useful tools to maximize your joy, tune into these candid, uplifting, and moving on-air chats. Listen to Joy 101 on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast. Guaranteed human.